Action.
Hi, my name's Fitzgerald and I'll be presenting a classroom activity to be used in the senior level primary classroom, incorporating the artistic processes of Australian painter Frederick McCubbin. Frederick McCubbin was renowned for his depiction of Australian life in the late 1800s. He is a fantastic artist to use in the classroom because it not only gives the children an opportunity to see the techniques and subject matter used by McCubbin in his artistic processes, it also gives the students an opportunity to learn about the history of their country, as well as see changes between past Australian society and modern day Australian society. So to apply the methods of McCubbin's work into the senior level classroom, I've created an activity that will engage the students using their observations of their own modern day world, as well as incorporating the similar techniques as McCubbin would use in his processes into their own work. So first you need to have the students look at McCubbin's artwork, The Pioneer, as a class. Begin a discussion on how the subject matter has been used by McCubbin and how he's reflected society of that time into his work. So if you look over here onto the artwork of The Pioneer, created in 1904, it reflects the three panels that depict how over time the society was beginning to modernise. You'll notice here that there's a lot more trees, but you're still in the same environment, but you'll notice that the trees are clearing up behind them, and you see that there's buildings being created in the background, showing how the society is becoming modernised. You can also talk about McCubbin's techniques as a painter to create his artwork. So he uses tone to create the realism, and by creating the tone he uses the oil paints on canvas and uses layer upon layer to create tone and emphasise the light in his subjects. He also uses figures in his work. It's not common to see a McCubbin work without figures. His work also depicts a storytelling type of work. Now, after this has been discussed, you could now discuss with the children how they could depict their own society in an artwork, and how it would be different between Frederick McCubbin's work and their own. So we're looking at the differences between society. So have the children set up themselves at their table with an A3 sheet of white paper and a grey lead. Now I've already made an example of creating my own depiction of modern day society. And what I have done is I've included buildings that reflect the city life of the modernised society, as well as showing a park. Now this, for my example, is reflecting Fitzgerald Gardens, where many people use it to do their daily exercise. So it depicts a connection between the natural landscape and the modern industrialised world. It also reflects a manipulated natural environment that is shaped to fit the modernised desires of humankind. So looking between Frederick McCubbin's work, The Pioneer, and my work, it shows a much more simplistic environment that has been landscaped according to mankind. Now, although the children's work is reflecting a different time period, it still incorporates Frederick McCubbin's ideas of modern day society. For his instance, his was modern day society, so the children have their opportunity of depicting their own modern day society. They're also incorporating McCubbin's techniques into their artwork, so the children are definitely using the processes of McCubbin. Now, this then they go into actually creating their artwork. Now, I've given the children the opportunity of using their own choice of mediums. So they may choose to use paints, they may use pastels, pencils, whatever they would like. Maybe not textures, but when they are using paints, it's probably better to use acrylic paints, because in the primary classrooms, younger children find it quite difficult to use oil paints, especially when it's layer upon layer, and it takes so long for the paint to dry that it could take up to a few lessons. So what I've done is I chose the medium of dry pastels. So this is because I feel more comfortable creating tone with dry pastels, and I feel that with the layer upon layer of the colours, you can create depth and realism. With pastels, though, you can never create a picture-like image because it sometimes creates a more cartoon effect. But in this case, I've reflected the tone and how the build-up of colours can create depth into my artwork. So this gives the children an opportunity to emphasise light in their artwork, tone, and just lets them learn about creating a process of creating tone and light. So this activity is an engaging lesson, but it could take up to 2 or 3 lessons depending on your time constraints and how the children are working. So it gives the children an opportunity to learn about the traditional Australian art and seeing how their country has changed over time. Thank you for listening. My name's Fitzgerald.